if you can't be alone, you'll always rely on outside things to make you feel okay. I realized something very powerful recently, and I had to share it with you guys today because it's been on my mind a lot. And it's something I've struggled with my whole life. And that is being happy, being alone, and by myself. For the longest time, I'm 30 now, have really struggled just to be alone and spend time with myself. I realized this recently because I've been going through a breakup and I've kind of felt quite alone and I've had to spend a lot of time by myself, and it's honestly been very powerful having that time alone, and it's made me realize that often I rely on external things for happiness, and I really struggle to be happy just by myself. Most of us avoid being alone without even realizing this, and this is true for me. I feel like for the longest time, I wasn't even conscious that I was avoiding being alone. But I truly believe that we are really missing out by fearing being alone, and I feel like being alone is very, very powerful. Most people will do absolutely anything to avoid being alone. You know, for most of my 20s, I've constantly just been on my phone, scrolling, listening to music, distracting myself in any way. You know, we make plans with people, we get into relationships to avoid being alone. Some people do drugs and alcohol and gamble and even become workaholics to avoid being by themselves. And it's because being alone, it's uncomfortable. There's this friction that we feel, this kind of feeling like you're staring into this dark void, and we will do absolutely anything to avoid that friction. And I personally can attest to this 100%. I feel that sensation of being alone and lonely, and straight away I jump into distractions and get away from that awful alone feeling. And I feel like this is very true even with relationships. A lot of people jump into relationships because they have that alone feeling, and they end up with the wrong person. They end up going down a road that is actually not for them. But like I said, humans will do crazy things to avoid this loneliness feeling. And a lot of these things are sometimes drugs, alcohol, bad relationships, things that will really harm us in the long term. Being alone is initially very uncomfortable, but after a while you'll start realizing certain patterns and certain things that keep coming up. And this is when I really want you to just pay attention to them, because it's your body's way of giving you signs of what you want in life, what you don't want, or what's unresolved. And this is when a lot of people distract themselves, because it becomes quite painful and difficult to sit with these hard emotions. So that's when a lot of people will grab their phone or make plans to see someone. But these are all hints. These are all hints about the direction your life should be going in. And it's something I've really been trying to work on and sit with. And you know, I've realized recently that my career direction isn't the direction I wanted to go. I've thought a lot about my relationships and just the direction my life's heading in, and that's all thanks to just allowing myself to be alone. I've also realized that I rely very heavily on external things for happiness, and I struggle just to find happiness in myself and find love in myself. And you know, I truly believe some of the strongest, most developed people are the ones who are happy just by themselves. They don't need anything else to happen. They're happy just being on their own and being by themselves. And it's funny because a lot of these amazing philosophers from history as well talk about how important it is to spend time in isolation. And you know, they talk about spending time in the forest and caves, because that's when a lot of clarity and realizations happen. So I mean, that the proof's in the pudding with that. I mean, it's hard because a lot of the talk these days is, oh, you need to surround yourself with friends all the time, and you need to be social, which I completely get. We need to socialize. It's part of our mental well-being, and it's something we need, but it's not talked about enough, the power that comes from being alone with no distractions, because it allows you to get in tune with yourself. And I believe that a lot of people aren't in tune with themselves these days, and that they're leading lives of quiet desperation, and they're kind of going around like zombies. They're getting led by societal expectations, and they're getting led by just the, the marketing and propaganda in the media and all sorts of stuff that's told to them. But I believe that if we spent more time by ourselves without distractions, we would be a better society and people would be a lot happier. It's just become so easy these days to distract yourself, which I even struggle with a lot, and it's something I've been working on. But I just had to share what I've realized recently, and I really encourage you just to spend more time by yourself, because you will realize things and you will get to know yourself a whole lot better, and a lot of clarity will come out of it. And it's what's really helped me with feeling lost and working out what I need to be a happy person and live a life that's fulfilling to me. So I hope you got something out of the video today. Let me know if you resonate with what I've said today, and thank you guys for all the support. I really appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I like talking about life, things that actually matter, and come with me on the journey to figure out how we can live a fulfilled and well life in this crazy society.